My little brother, 16, has been living with me for a little over a year now. Our parents kicked him out when he came out, and I couldn't not take him. He's my baby brother. My partner set a few ground rules when he moved in. No parties, his rent would be our weekly grocery bill, and if he could look after our 2 children, 6 and 10, while we're both working late, that would be amazing. And there would be no guests in our home. He agreed to all of these conditions and was holding up to them until very recently. My brother recently got a new boyfriend, who we have met a couple of times, and he seems really sweet, but we don't really know him that well. Anyway, my partner and I were working late the other night, and he called me to find out if his boyfriend could come around. And I told him I'd rather he didn't be around my girls while we were not there. He seemed fine with it, and I thought nothing of it. However, when I got home, there was his boyfriend, sitting on the couch with him. I didn't disturb them because his boyfriend seemed emotionally distressed. He was crying. And when he left, I asked my brother what happened. Apparently, his boyfriend just found out his parents are divorcing. I told him I was sorry for his boyfriend, but I asked him not to have him over my daughters until we were home. And just because they were sleeping doesn't change the fact, because anything could have happened. We got into a bit of an argument, with him defending himself, and I ended up telling him I felt extremely disrespected and worried for my daughters, because that wasn't our agreement, and I have no idea how many times he's had people in the house without permission. I told him, unfortunately, he's going to need to find another place to stay. I have kids to look after, and they come first. We don't take much rent off him, so he's got $15,000 in his bank account. He's not running a risk of being homeless. I told him he had until the end of March to find a place, and until he does, his regular duties stand. He started crying and apologizing and asked if he could stay. So I told him I wasn't disowning him like our parents. He just can't live here anymore. My husband says I was a complete a-hole and I need to tell him he's allowed to stay. He said he called first, so he's most likely never had anyone else over without permission. And he'd be a pretty bad boyfriend if he wasn't there for support. I feel like I may be the a-hole because my husband is usually tight on the rules, and even he's willing to bend them for this. So, am I the a-hole? Now the top comments. You're the a-hole. I understand your concern, but you're overreacting. He's 16, and he pays rent. All groceries for 5 people is a considerable amount. Plus, he's doing childcare frequently, which is considerable value too. Despite this, he does not have any visitation rights, which is unusual. I totally understand wanting to protect your kids. He may not even have thought he broke your rules since his boyfriend was on the couch and not with your kids. While that wasn't what you meant, what you say here would arguably make him in compliance with your rules. And even if he broke the rule, it's once. You have reason to believe it's a first offense since he called first, and your daughters have never told you about any earlier transgressions. Plus, his boyfriend's parents just announced a divorce. That is a major crisis of a scale that happens less than once a decade. Not exactly run-off-the-mill stuff. All in all, I think you need to make up your mind on how to treat him. You've set restrictions on him, no visitors, no parties, that are akin to treating him like a child or a young teenager. But you've made demands on him paying groceries and work as a babysitter for rent that is more in line with treating him like an adult. And the first offense and you're out is harsh even by adult standards. Honestly, I know you're trying to do the right thing here by taking care of your kids first and your brother too if you can, but I genuinely think you underestimate how much your brother means to your kids. I doubt he's just a babysitter to them, so while you need to maintain order and limit his friends' visits while you're away, I recommend you try to help nurture their relationship as long as it can be healthy for all of them. I recommend you let your brother stay and to help him get over this exacerbation of his abandonment trauma. I strongly recommend apologizing to him over this. My mother's family doesn't want anything to do with her, despite her doing everything she can to get them into her life again. My mom is obsessed with Facebook and sharing too much about her family. She told everyone when I got my period. She sent messages to every family member I knew and didn't know of within an hour of me finding out that I can't get pregnant without medical help. I haven't processed it before getting "Get Pregnant Fast" articles from distant relatives. She posted a photo of my sister's child. She hadn't had contact with her for over 10 years. The photo was of her newborn child before my sister got to post it on Facebook, etc. herself. I recently got my degree, and on Monday, I got the job at an interview. I am starting next month. I told my mother not to tell anyone, because I wanted to tell them myself. I had planned to tell my friends during dinner and my boss today. Yesterday, I was at my part-time job where I'm not allowed to use my phone. When I got home, I saw several congratulations on my Facebook wall, on Snap, and Messenger. My boss called me and asked me why I didn't tell her how the interview went. And my friends asked me why I didn't tell them that I quit my job and started in a new one. So I snapped. I told my mother that she should show me more respect and that her constant need to appear like a good mom on Facebook is stopping her from actually being a good mom. I told her that it was illegal to post pictures of other people's children without parents' consent, and that this behavior is the reason why so many family members have dropped her. I told her she was a gossip, and a lot of family members couldn't deal with her anger when they called her out on it. I told her that this was the reason her family wants nothing to do with her. She basically told me to F off and blocked me on everything. My father is furious, saying that I'm lucky to have a supportive mother even when I chose a lousy job as an educational leader. So, what do you guys think? Now the top comments. Your mother sounds obnoxious, very inconsiderate, and makes everything to be about her. And your father enables and supports in behaving selfishly. I would go no contact to low contact, or at least start withholding information and news from her. She already saved you some steps by blocking you. Sorry, you have to deal with this, not the a-hole. Frankly, I think everyone sucks here. Obviously what she did is wrong, and there's no excuse for her behavior. You told her not to tell anyone, but she did it anyways. If she's that desperate to share other people's news before they get a chance to, she needs help. Because something about her life isn't satisfying her if she needs to go that far. However, you list all the times your mom has overshared on Facebook, including a few other times you had personal news that you weren't ready to share and she told everyone anyway. So how could you possibly expect her to do anything different? There's no way you thought telling her don't tell anyone would actually work. You knew what she was like, but you did it anyway. Sorry, but you share some culpability here. Update. To clarify, my mother has deleted posts before when she was told, and she's gotten better with the years about keeping things when told. This is not the first fight about this, but she has improved. Many of you are wondering why I even told her anything. She's been on no contact, low contact diet several times. After her mother died, she's been very lost and lonely, and tells me that I'm the only one she can be totally honest with. No one visited my grandma except my mom and me. She apologized for her earlier behavior. She didn't tell anyone anything as far as I know, and told me she would never post anything without my knowledge. She's asked me if she can post pics, etc. for the last year before doing so, and I started confiding in her more and more during the pandemic. She earned my trust again, then broke it again. I know that I'm at fault for believing that things had changed. She never does stuff like this to my little sister anymore, so I hoped it would be the same for me, not the older sister with the baby. So I will take your advice with not saying anything worth writing about in the future. So I, male 29, own my house, and my girlfriend of 2 years, Molly, female 28, stays over frequently. So our situation is that Molly doesn't like her apartment, so she stays most of the week at my house. I'm cool with it as I love having her around, obviously. I pay for all the bills and have never asked Molly to contribute. She does buy groceries for us and will buy crafty items for the house. But she's never been asked financially to contribute as she still has her own apartment she stays at about once or twice a week. I'd say the cooking and cleaning is split at my place pretty fairly, with us each doing about 50-50. We haven't discussed moving in together or anything like that. So I have a finished basement that isn't really being used but is a great space. Molly has always had these plans to make it into something. I've always wanted to make it my man cave, but Molly wanted to make it like a basement living room and dining space. She would always watch HD TV and say things like, "See, we could turn that basement into this." But we haven't made any sort of decision in over a year, and the space was being left unused. So Molly left last week for a week-long trip to see her parents. During that time, my best friend Shia stayed for a week due to some housing issues at her place. One night, I was scrolling through TikTok and saw this badass man cave setup. I talked to Shia about the idea, and she was down too. We went to Home Depot that night and started the project. We designed everything, and over the course of a week, finished everything. Painted, designed the bar, built the bar, found an old ping pong table on Marketplace, got all my sports memorabilia out of boxes, hung a ton of pics, hooked up a speaker and a projector screen. We created this really badass man cave. She works in construction, so she offered a lot of experience, and I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. When Molly got home on Sunday, she flipped out, saying she couldn't believe I did this without consulting her. I was kinda ticked off because it looked awesome, and she didn't even say anything positive. Just got offended she wasn't consulted. I said she doesn't pay for the house, didn't have any real plans for the space, it's my house, and I don't see why I need to consult her to make decisions on my own house. She's been acting all standoffish since, and won't even hang out in the basement while I'm spending a lot of my time here. My friends say that I'm right and it's my place, that we're not married or even living together, so it's my choice what happens to my house. But my mom called me an idiot. Am I the a-hole? Now the top comments. You two have been together 2 years, are almost 30, and have had conversations in the past about potential mutual plans for the house. She's clearly thinking that marriage is on the horizon and that she'll move in and merge finances. You're thinking man cave time. So yeah, technically you had every right to do this, but you also clearly communicated to your girlfriend that the two of you aren't on the same page. Not the a-hole, but you are a bit clueless and self-involved. Also, why would she want to hang out in your man cave? Isn't that kind of the point? You're the a-hole. The "it's your house, do whatever you want" responses are technically correct, but that doesn't make them correct for your relationship. Your communication skills were sorely lacking. You're in a serious relationship and you practically live together. It seems pretty clear to me, and likely Molly, that the trajectory of this relationship is such that in some time it will be viewed as the home of both of you. She had already discussed with you possible plans for that space and how you might use it together. And it doesn't sound like you shut them down, so yeah, she was probably a little peeved when you nullified those plans without even a heads up. It strikes me as very odd that while she was out of town for a week, you didn't once mention in texts or a call that you were doing a major home renovation. That seems deliberate. I, female 19, have friends who are a married couple. Jay, female 19, and Emily, female 19. They are a polyamory couple and they have an open relationship, so they can be with who they please. Now, Jay likes to be with committed men. She's been with many, saying she loves knowing she can get any man she wants and they'll always choose her. She even went as far as to get one of them to leave his wife for her, then dump him, saying she never wanted anything serious. Her wife tells her it's disgusting to be with a married man, especially since none of them have open relationships. I have a long-term boyfriend, male 19, and we've been together for 3 years. He has high-functioning autism, he wanted me to clarify, and a great partner overall. I trust him with all my heart and soul. We are in a monogamous relationship. My boyfriend, our friends, and I have been friends since high school. On to the issue. Last year, Jay went drinking and admitted to me that she wants to sleep with my boyfriend. I told her if she ever tried anything, I'd never forgive her and I'd opt out of our friendship. Today, she asked me if I could send my boyfriend over to her house to hang out, since I was at the gym and my boyfriend stays home as he has crippling anxiety. I told her since her wife isn't home, she was with me at the gym. I'd rather my boyfriend stay home until I get there and then we can all hang out. I thought it could be an easy answer. She explained that ever since she confessed to me, I've been distancing him away from her, and she asked me why. I said we can talk about that later when I get home since I was literally running on a treadmill. I get a call from my boyfriend asking me to come home because Jay came over to our house, but he gets uncomfortable with anyone unless myself or another party is involved. I go home with Emily to my house. Jay asks me if I have an issue with her being alone with my boyfriend. I was already pissed as I had to leave the gym early, so I admit it, I did kinda lose it. I said, well, you can't expect me to fully trust you given your history with committed men, and the fact that you brought up your confession makes it seem like you had ill intentions. She starts crying, saying I don't trust her. I remind her that she's ruined a lot of our close friends' relationships by sleeping with her boyfriends. She ran home crying. She says she'd never do that to me and I need to apologize or she's ending the friendship. Emily is torn because she loves her wife but agrees that I have a point. I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole because I feel like I should just trust her since she's one of my closest friends. But I just can't. Am I the a-hole for telling her exactly why I don't want her alone with my boyfriend? And because I can see this coming, I trust my boyfriend with everything I have. Plus, he cries if someone touches him without letting him know first, so he'd call if something happened. Now the top comments. So let me get this straight. This woman has a track record of sleeping with guys in committed relationships, has ruined multiple friendships and relationships, has expressed a sexual attraction to your partner, and she's surprised that you aren't comfortable with her being alone with him? She is not the victim here, not the a-hole. You have valid reasons not to trust her, and it sounds like your boyfriend doesn't want to be alone with her anyway. You absolutely do not owe her an apology. Given her behavior, any reasonable person would consider her to be a person who is not at all respectful of others or trustworthy. Everyone sucks here. Also, in true poly, all parties involved are aware and open, including the spouse of the person you're having sex with. She's not practically poly. She's playing a conquering game and she's party to cheating. Nothing poly about it. You're good with her choice. Only the wife found it disgusting, but now you don't trust her. And you don't trust your boyfriend. Everyone sucks here. Not the a-hole. Does Jay even listen to herself? She's already said, 1, she can get any man she wants, and 2, she wants to sleep with your boyfriend. And she wonders why people don't trust her. She sounds very manipulative. So, frankly, don't apologize. Maybe apologize for saying things in anger, but stand by the specific comments. As in, her actions have ruined her relationship with many close friends. End the friendship with her and move on.